Some of this is not going to make any sense because I had a thought and then I started recording my thought. And so the processing of it is going to be weird. I'm hoping enough of this will make sense to enough people that it's of some use somewhere to someone. But the fact of the matter is, I was thinking about why I write. And I came to the idea about the spider, the part that matters. Because there's been a lot of, what's the fucking word? There's been a lot of comparison between a tale woven by an author and a web woven by a spider. They even use like a web of lies, a web of deceit, the interconnectivity between the characters, the decisions they make, everything. It's all interwoven. They use these terms often. So I don't think it's too far of a stretch. And I think there's a reason for that because everyone knows what I'm talking about to be true, even if they'd never found the words themselves to make the actual statement. Really, what started the subject was I was thinking about therapy. I was thinking about of what value it could be. Because on one hand, I get some stuff in me that might be useful to get out. But if I get it out of me, then what will I write? And then the little therapist voice in my head said to me, so do you think you need to be damaged in order to be a good writer? You think healing would you think healing would hold you back? And I said, well, yeah. What else would I write about? The whole point of writing for me is to work through these issues. If I work through them here, I don't need to work through them there. And the response was, clearly, surely being of healthy mind will allow you to see clearer and therefore write better, no? And the response was absolutely not. Because even if you see clearly, it's not about the world or the story's in. The heart of the story, the meat of the story, literally the meat, is the same thing as the meat in the web. The spider doesn't build the web for the sake of having a web. It doesn't sit down on the edge of the web and look at this stitching, look at that, bit connecting this to this and all the intricacy of it. It doesn't do that. The spider builds a web to catch the fly. And me as an author, I don't write a story to have a story. I don't write a story to tell people I'm a writer, so I can wave my story around above my head and have people go, oh, yay, they wrote a story. I don't write a story to sell a story. I don't write a story to have a movie made. I don't write a story for any of these things. I write a story as a method of extraction. Because, like the spider, they connect the things that need to be connected. They point here to point there to point here, and they create, they construct, and they weave, and they work. And if they do it right, then when they're done, a fly will enter. And it will twist around and fight to get out of there, but it'll be caught, it'll be stuck, and then they go in there, and they consume it. Well, me as an author, I do the same thing. I weave the tale, I create my web, I build characters, I build a world, they make decisions, they do things, and A connects to B, connects to C, connects to these characters, which connect to that location, which connect to these characters, and a story unfurls. And if I weave it correctly, then when I'm done, the little piece of me that I was trying to examine ends up in the net. It has been extracted from me, and it is now stuck in the web, twitching and fighting to get out of there, but it's in there, I caught it. And I can look at it, I can examine it, I can consume it, destroy it, get rid of it, or I can refine it and bring it back into myself. It's up to me. That's part of the process. The best things I've ever written weren't things that I wrote. They were things that ended up in my writing through this process of extraction. And I firmly believe if you want to write anything of value, then you can't write it. You write the world around it, and then the part of value that's in you ends up in there. And if what you do, if what you're feeling in you is universal enough, if what you're feeling in you is real enough, is true enough, is powerful enough, then when you have that little bit, extracted into that net and ending up in the story, when other people read it or see it or however they consume your story, it'll resonate with them as well. And they'll see that little piece as a piece of themselves, and they'll be able to have the same experience. And then they can consume or refine or extract, and they can do what they want through the way you did it. Because you did it, it allowed them to have the same process done to themselves. So if you mine those bits out of you in advance, then you can still construct the world. You can create the characters, they can make decisions, they can be interconnected, and it can be a wonderful story. But it will not end up with that little wiggling piece of fly. And that's the part that matters. Anyway, those are just some thoughts I was having.